Clinical Conversations is where we tackle, as you can imagine, some clinical conversations about really the art and science relative to what we do as chiropractors and even the broader healthcare field as well. And there was an article that came across Jason's desk here over the last week, and we thought it would be a great conversation to look at the article together, to have a talk about regenerative medicine, orthobiologics. Perhaps you've seen us have some MDs, DOs, other physicians that we've built relationships with on right here in the Smart Chiropractor group and on the Smart Chiropractor YouTube channel. But Jason, I thought this would be a great end of year topic for us to look at a recently released article in Chiropractic Economics to discuss the implications, the pros, the cons, the questions anybody might have along the way. And we'd encourage you, if you have questions, we have answers, or we can find answers. So drop them down below. And again, continue to tune in each and every week for the Smart Chiropractor Show. We are going to be hitting the ground running as we get into 2022. We have a load of special guests. Upcoming segments are looking fantastic, so stay engaged, stay involved. Make sure that you subscribe on the YouTube channel to stay up to date as we take these clips, and you'll have access to every single segment. And if you have the time and opportunity based on your schedule, tune in each Tuesday so you can watch live, comment, and ask questions. Jason, I am going to share screen to the article we were discussing. And as I do that, I'm going to bring us in. And let's have a chat about this. What does regenerative medicine mean to you? Does this fit into chiropractic? I guess set the stage for our conversation, if you don't mind.
Yeah, carrying over from our last segment where we talked about networks and Metcalfe's law and the idea of building community, the thought behind why we keep bringing these MDs and DOs on is exactly this. Just to give you the context, that together we can do more. And when we can find other professionals of any kind that are philosophically aligned with our philosophy, namely in this case being, how do we help people be healthier? How do we help people avoid drugs and surgery when we can? That's a core philosophy of mine. If there's something I can do to help people avoid drugs and avoid surgery because they've got orthopedic conditions, that's perfectly aligned with my philosophy. That doesn't mean that that's what I want to do as a chiropractor. It means that's aligned with my philosophy as a human being. That if I can help guide people to take less toxic drugs and be subject to less dangerous surgeries, that's called being a good citizen, let alone a good doctor. And so this group of docs that we've been working with over the past year or so, we brought them, as guests regularly. I'm sure at some point they'll be on again in the future. Was all based on that philosophy. Who are other doctors that philosophically align with who we are and what we do? Now, I'll pause for a moment because, when you mention regenerative orthopedics, when you mention orthobiologics, when you mention stem cells or PRP or any of these different types of sort of new advanced styles of the body healing itself, unfortunately, there's a group of chiropractors that have sort of taken it upon themselves to go, well, we should do that too, because you know what? You can actually make a lot of money doing that. And instead of staying, I'll say, focused on their core service, or colloquial saying, staying in your lane of what you're licensed to do versus not, they've taken some detours that have, I'll say, gone in the wrong direction, may not necessarily be legal, and certainly can be questionably ethical or unethical. Our stand is this: you're best at being a specialist at what you do and communicating and connecting with other specialists in what they do, and being great at articulating to those other specialists and to your community what it is that they can expect from you, and then work together to make sure that people get to the right place for them. That's really, that's what trust is all about. That's what being generous is all about. That's what being a doctor is all about, is guiding people to the services they need based on their needs, not yours. And this really, the sort of the spirit of why we keep sort of bringing this up is that there's been a lot of confusion and even some disciplinary actions in the past that we don't think are necessary. So smart chiropractors understand this is what orthobiologics is. This is what regenerative medicine is. These are the types of doctors who do it best. This is where you find good doctors who do it better than those that are just hopping on the bandwagon to say, yes, we do that too. And when you're able to come from that space and place, we think you're not only going to be able to guide people, whether it's yourself, your family members, staff that may have orthopedic issues that are not completely resolved by chiropractic care and require more care than chiropractic is able to offer for whatever the reasons are, limitations and matter. You'll be able to help guide people to the right place. You'll be able to help yourself. And you'll find that when you set these types of relationships up, the laws of the universe, as in reciprocity, often take place. So oftentimes, the more generous you are to give, remarkably, if you believe in something greater than yourself, it's magical how what you receive in return oftentimes is 10x. That's the whole benefit of a network, being a part of a network and doing the right thing. So that's my sort of high level philosophical. Let me kick it over to you to get a little bit more detailed and scientific with what it says in the paper.
Yeah, Jason, you brought up some great points, and I'll just say it really frankly. I think a lot of this comes down to the sniff test, right? Does it feel right? Are you why are you doing anything, right? And really just understanding. Okay, if I'm going to begin to do this, in my practice, am I going about this in a great way? I'm all for chiropractors really being able to build nice businesses. Not for everybody. Not everybody wants to do everything, but those chiropractors that really want to build a multidisciplinary practice, I'm all in for. I think the biggest thing is, are you going about this in a way that's skirting the rules purposefully and just getting by, or are you going about this in the way where you're bringing in, maybe not world-renowned experts, but whatever that means, the top-level individuals. And to me, that's a really key concept here. Is that it's clear at this point in time, when we look back a decade and Kobe Bryant, flying overseas to Germany to have his knees worked on because he had previous surgical intervention, trying to avoid, orthobiologics and regenerative medicine is here to stay. There's no question about it. And the landscape is still, I'm going to say, a little bit Wild West in terms of there's a lot of products, there's a lot of services, there's a lot of different approaches. And from what I can tell, the data still needs to sort out a lot in terms of, okay, how can we dial this in a way that is as replicatable as possible? With that being said, I think there are some key tenets that all of us as chiropractors, even not being experts in this field of medicine, but that we can look from the outside in and make critical assessments. In other words, in my opinion, there's no question that specificity is an important component of this. So if somebody is doing it, are they doing it with guidance? Are they just pushing the needle in as far as they think they should, or are they really monitoring what's going on? To me, that makes scientific sense that you'd improve the likelihood of getting a quality result if you can be more specific with what you are putting in. The second aspect of it is, quite frankly, what I've seen to be the widest berth of varying opinions in terms of where somebody is drawing something from. And, you have one product and, the company's claiming there's a gazillion, live stem cells, and, the person who uses the other product is saying there's zero, and it's like, wow, these are pretty wildly different opinions in terms of what's going on, so to speak, in the vial. And I think one thing that you and I have learned and discovered, I'm going to say, over the last year or so, and it just makes sense. Again, we'll learn more as data comes out as time moves on. So this is not necessarily with the gavel here closing the book. However, I would say it's pretty clear to me that when you are pulling, and your sample is from, live tissue in a live human being, and then you're using a centrifuge right there and getting it back in, that seems to make a lot of sense to me in terms of having the most viable product, let's say, in terms of whether it's PRP, whether it's STEM, etc., and then having guidance when you're putting it back in. So overarching themes, I'm kind of going a variety of different directions there. I think my thoughts are evolving in the regenerative medicine and orthobiologics space. I would say I am all for chiropractors that really want to build and grow larger healthcare entities. I think is a fantastic thing. And there's no question that, in my opinion, most people should explore this before they explore surgical intervention if they seem to be going that direction, or they have a condition that they've let go that's become so severe that it seems as though they're moving that way. I think having the third part about that is having a trusted individual who really lives and breathes this day in and day out. And I think about it the same way as chiropractic. If you would you send somebody to in a movement expert, if you were a golfer, do you send somebody to Greg Rose at TPI for an assessment who lives and breathes this with pros every day, or do you send it to somebody who adjusts 1 hour a night, 2 out 2 days a month, right? It's like I'm going to go under the dramatic assumption that going to TPI with somebody like Greg Rose or any of the team over there that works with high level athletes all the time, they are going to do a better job than somebody who happens to moonlight and does it as a side gig because, hey, taking care of golfers pays good money, right? So this is really the way that I think about it. The science has a lot to be sorted out. I got a feeling in 10 years we'll look back and there'll be a lot of people saying I had it right. A lot of people have egg on their face. That's the way it works out. I think there's a lot of people doing great things trying to explore the field. However, we're going to learn a lot, and that's a cool and exciting thing, in my opinion, for all of us as chiropractors to keep our eye on, because as this continues to develop, I think there'll be better and more options for our patients to receive high quality care as we continue to learn more about that field. So I maybe didn't break down exactly that article, Jason, but those are some of my thoughts related to a little bit of science and a little bit of business regarding orthobiologics. I'd love to have your thoughts on that before we move on to the next segment.
Yeah, the things that I learned really are the three places to sort of focus on are one, as you mentioned, making sure you're using the right thing in the right place under image guidance. Two is, making sure that it's in the right dosage. It's the right product that you're injecting. And it's not just a centrifuge. It's really understanding that, the different types of PRP and bone marrow concentrate matter. The different concentration levels matter. So it's having that level of expertise. And three, you really alluded to this, but just to sort of summarize it in 3 points, it is the training and the experience. It's how do you know that you're an expert at this, not just someone who saw that it's a new trend and it pays well. And, we've already got most of the equipment here, so we can get away with it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And I think that's the point here, is really understanding, the background and the context to it. If you didn't need the money, would you do it because you believe in it? And if so, are you really offering it at the highest level, legally and ethically possible? So that's our litmus test for it. That's our take on it. We've been spending a lot of time focusing on these clinical conversations. If you've got requests for other types of clinical conversations that we've had, leave us some comments down below, private message us, let us know. If there are other clinicians you work with as a chiropractor that you think we should be highlighting, other types of services, not that we should be doing as chiropractors, but that fit and align with who our patients, who our clients, who the people we serve also would want to see, learn from, and benefit from, then that's the concept of this network effect. It's being knowledgeable in what other people on your, call it wellness team, offer, so you can articulate how to cross-refer those people to the right place. And again, over and over and over again, you will see time and time again that the best way to get what you want, according to Dale Carnegie, the best-selling book on success, is to help other people get what they want.
Great point, Jason. Could not agree more. And that wraps up Clinical Conversations, our weekly segment devoted to the application of clinical practice in and around a chiropractic practice. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.